Um, awesome. Well, okay, again, welcome everyone to our peer-to-peer learning series. Please go ahead and introduce yourself into the chat. I would love to know what kind of animal you would be. And yeah, so I'm just going to kind of dive right into things. The first thing I just wanted to share in terms of this call today is just thank you so much for being here. I know it's a really busy time of year for nutrition services. I think we're in the middle of March, things are going, everything is really busy. I know weather across the state has been crazy, depending on where you are. So I just wanted to thank you so much for being a part of this conversation today and attending. Next slide. In terms of, yeah, I'm just going to just keep on going. So our team is continuing to evolve and grow and change. And I just wanted to introduce V, who is on our call today as our new intern. Hi, V. V, do you want to go off mute and just introduce yourself real quick?
Everyone, my name is V. I'm the new intern with the program, and this is my first peer-to-peer meeting that I'm attending. So it's very nice to see some faces and finally get an idea of who are all these people that we've been emailing and the names I've been seeing on the spreadsheet. So thank you all for coming, especially with this being so busy. And I'm sure you all have a lot of other things that you're working on. So we just appreciate you being here. Yeah, thanks.
Yes, and V has been doing a lot of great work for us. So V, thank you so much. And so one thing before we get into our call today, so our conversation today is really going to be on plant-based, our plant-based microgrant awardees, which we're going to go into in a second. But one of the things that Lucy and I earlier this week we're kind of talking about the peer-to-peer learning series and thinking, you know, what are some things that you want to be discussed? So V, if you don't mind dropping that link into the chat. We have a 2-question survey. It's just like, what do you want to discuss in the peer-to-peer? And I would love to, if you have, we still have a couple sessions left before the end of the school year. So if there's anything that you want to talk about, anything that you want to hear more about, please go ahead and fill out. It will take 2 seconds. It's a very quick survey. And then in terms of a couple of announcements, again, before we get started, I thought I'd just put the announcements right at the front end of the call. There is money coming your way. And so I just want to like put that front and center and really highlight that. Their CDE has a fund called the School Food Best Practices Fund. It's kind of a catch-all for minimally processed, sustainably grown, freshly prepared meals, and it can include plant-based or restricted diet options. So LEAs can receive a minimum of $50,000, and that's kind of the base. So if you opt into the funds, similar to the KIT funds, you'll get $50,000, and then there's kind of a formula based on your meal participations and free and reduced price meals and that kind of thing for how much additional funds you get. But the reason why we want to highlight this, it is coming out at the beginning of April, is because this is a great way, especially because we know climate-friendly meals, whether they're organic meals or plant-based meals, can often be more costly. And so this is a great way to kind of help offset that cost that we know kind of comes from more plant-based meals. Also, if you are wanting to sample different plant-based products or different plant-based recipes, this is a great way to get some funds to do that. So we're going to be kind of like blasting your inbox as soon as these funds are available at the beginning of April. But I just wanted that on your radar. Is that it's the School Food Best Practices Funds. And again, they'll be kind of CDE will be administering that similar to the KIT funds. These are funds that Friends of the Earth has really been working to advocate for and to get. We've been working with the California legislator to get these funds allocated. So we're really excited and thrilled that this is coming out. And districts will have, I think it's about 2 years till 2025 to use these funds. So, and then yes, thank you, Pilar. There's also a CDE webinar next week on that as well. So, Lucy, I don't know if you're there, but Lucy, if you don't mind dropping maybe the information on the CDE webinar, that would be great as well.
Sure.
Lucy, yeah, okay, great.
Yeah, I can do that.
Wonderful. Yeah. So money is coming your way. Please opt in. It's just an opt-in thing. And that's just an easy way to get more money for climate-friendly school food. So we're looking forward to having that out. And then my next announcement, I'm going to turn this one over to Kate. Kate, if it's okay with you, I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, certainly. Thank you so much, Nora. So hi, everybody. My name is Kate, and I'm with the Humane Society of the United States Food Service Innovation Team. So I believe I've met many of you before, but just really quickly for those of you who don't know, my team works with schools around the country to increase plant-based options on student menus. And we do this through culinary trainings and marketing tips and tricks and greenhouse gas assessments and lots of other resources. And so one of the resources that we've just recently released is our Earth Day toolkit. So this toolkit is designed for any school or district that wants to host their own event centered around Earth Day or week or month. And you can hold sort of a sampling event or a plant-based takeover in your cafeterias where you're serving your kids delicious plant-based foods while also talking to them about the impacts that their food choices have on our environment. So the toolkit has sample menus with lots of recipe suggestions, ideas for engaging your staff or students in these options, marketing materials, info on greenhouse gas savings that your district could have just by making these swaps for one day, and lots of other great info. So we definitely just want to be capitalizing on the fact that it's already a time of the year where people are talking about the environment and how to be living more sustainably. And as you all know, changing the way we eat is kind of one of the main ways that we can have a pretty big impact. And we definitely want to educate our students about that. So feel free to take a look through the toolkit, plan a fun event around Earth Day. And, if you want to take it the extra mile, we have information on planning like an Earth Week event or an Earth Month event. And we can definitely be there to support you in whatever event or, takeover you wanted to plan. And then we also will be hosting an Earth Day webinar on April 4th. That again is just focusing on the impact that our food choices have on the environment. So the speakers will be Dr. Isaac Emery, who's with the environmental group WSP. So he's the climate scientist that runs all of our more formal greenhouse gas assessments. And again, he's just going to talk about those huge environmental benefits from eating plant-based. And then our own culinary manager, Alicia Bell, will discuss some of our newer low-waste plant-based recipes that you can actually utilize in your cafeterias to make these changes a bit more efficiently. So it should be a lot of fun, and we'd love for you all to join with your teams and share it with your students, their parents, whomever you think would benefit. So I believe Nora and Lucy will be sending that toolkit out your way along with my contact information. So again, feel free to reach out if you have any questions about that or want any support with those events. But with that, thank you so much. And thank you, Nora, for the opportunity to share that out.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Kate. Yes, so we will share the toolkit with everybody via email, like as a follow-up. But we also put the link to the Humane Society's the Earth Day webinar. Kate is Alicia Bell, who's the culinary trainer. She's one of my friends. So shameless plug. I think she's wonderful. I think she's a really engaging, culinary trainer. And so definitely recommend attending that. She's fabulous. So I'm a bit biased there. And then, okay, so those are our announcements. I'm going to kind of drop into our conversation on the plant-based microgrant program, because we have a lot of really great presenters today to kind of talk through that. So last school year, Friends of the Earth did a plant-based microgrant program where we awarded funds between $1,000 and $3,000 to really support plant-based menu development. And so this could include maybe some small equipment, a lot of taste testing, student engagement activities, staff training, any family engagement events. And we got a lot of really great applications in to really talk through or to really kind of develop more plant-based menu offerings. So I invited everybody from that program onto this call today, and we have a couple of really great speakers to talk through the kind of what they did with that. And just to kind of give you a picture of who all was a part of this program, we have a lot of awesome school districts who were part of this. So I kind of put it up here, and a lot of them are here today on the chat. So thank you all so much for coming. I will say we do have a small amount of funds still available. So if your school district is not up here, but you want to do, I'm going back to the previous slide, if you want to develop more plant-based recipes and you need a little bit of funds, I would say, first of all, make sure you apply to the School Food Best Practices funds for sure that I just shared. But if you want some funding from Friends of the Earth, we do have the opportunity to award a few more microgrant awards. So feel welcome to email me or private message me, and I'll send you an email with some more details. I try to make the application super easy so that it's very easy to join and apply. But yeah, so thank you all so much thank you to these schools who just have done some incredible work on plant-based menu development. And the goal was really just like small shifts. Let's kind of get this going. And, like, what can we do to really kind of jumpstart more plant-based options on the menu? So with that said, we have some really awesome people today on the call, and I'm going to just kind of jump right into it and turn it over to Nicole. Nicole, thank you so much for joining us, and I'll just turn it over to you to share more.
Yes, thank you, Nora. Glad to be here and to be able to share what SFUSD is currently doing. Next slide, please. So just to talk briefly about what the Refresh program is, right? So our Refresh is our in-house scratch cooking program that is currently offered at most secondary schools. And this is based on facilities, right? So we haven't had an investment for like 30 years. And with the help of like kids funding, grants, bonds, and other finances resources, we're able to construct new kitchens and new serving lines with these funds. So the menus that I create are basically designed to work for all sites, because not all sites are the same, right? Some may have stoves, maybe some might have a combination retherm or oven, or some might have combi ovens. So we began piloting the Refresh program for 100% in-house at 4 middle schools pre-pandemic. And then previously it was 60% in-house and 40% pre-packaged vended meals. And then we expanded bulk service to 4 schools when their kitchens completed construction last year, and we'll be hopefully transitioning to scratch cooking next school year. The scratch cooking, we will be able to bring in some raw products because the kitchens have a hood facility, right? So we will be approved by the fire marshal to be able to bring in raw products. And then it will also lower our food costs. We launched Refresh Breakfast program last year at all 20 Refresh schools and expanded 100% model to all Refresh schools this school year. Next slide. So we have about 40% of our student population consists of Asian, right? So we have a lot of, to be able to be culturally inclusive in designing the menu. We offer a variety of different cuisines. 35% of our average daily participation comes from the Refresh program and 10% from our mini central kitchen. The recipes we offer are also created by our very own dining staff, and we'd like to incorporate that. San Francisco has really a strict wellness policy, right? So it's a little bit limiting resources with clean label items. Our strict with our wellness policy, it prohibits like artificial colors, preservative, tropical oils, coconut, peanuts, tree nuts, which are mostly commonly found in these plant-based items. We conduct the taste tests at various schools with the support of our food core service members, dietetic interns, and also vendors on site. Next slide. So we have some of these new items that we launched for the fall menu and for the spring menu. So these are the ones that are listed, but I will highlight what the plant-based menu options we have. Next slide.
And Nicole,
Yes.
I'm wondering if you could explain a little bit about where the names of these items came from.
Sorry.
Where the names of these items came from, like
What do you mean?
Patty's Banh Mi.
Oh, Patty's Banh Mi. So Patty is our staff, and she created these recipe. You know, so like so basically we incorporate our staff. So if they have like a good recipe idea and we would like to test it out in a few sites, and then once we put it in there, we in their honor we would you know, have their names on it to feature that recipe and highlight the employee.
I love
Next
that.
slide. Yeah.
Thank you.
And next slide. Okay, so for the Singaporean curry noodles, actually this is, it was created by one of our lead dining staff at our central kitchen, but we didn't put his name in there. But basically the Singaporean curry noodles is just an easy rice noodle dish with bean sprouts, green onions, some different flavors of curry inspired like curry, turmeric and all that, served with impossible nuggets. So with the microgrant that we got awarded from Friends of the Earth, we use this to purchase supplies for the refresh testing and the small wares. Next slide. So given our facility, like this is rice noodles is very easy. The rice noodles that we get are the like very thin hair like style. So basically just soak the rice noodles in cool water for 15 minutes and drain. So there's no cooking required, very quick and easy for the staff to handle this product. Next slide. Also, we serve the sticky Szechuan dumplings. So I created this recipe in-house, right? Because because of our wellness policy, most of the prepared sauces will have all those prohibited items
So
like caramel color.
I have to go get
That you know, that is prohibited in our wellness policy. So then the technique that I've used here is that most of the like the dumplings, like when you cook it by itself or steam it, it kind of dries up the wrapper. So this way what we did was we make the marinade, we bake it with the sauce, and then that way it will kind of caramelize and crystallize and really stick to the sauce without drying the product. So our goal for this year was to offer plant-based menu 1 time a week for lunch and also 1 times for supper. Next slide. So then we use the crediting for the 80-20 rule, right? Because the rice noodles, you know, is like a white, it's not a whole grain rich item. So basically we offer 3 lunch items a day, so 15 lunch items a week. So at least 80%, the rule states that at least 80% of all grains offered weekly must be whole grain rich. So the remaining 20 is the one that we use for to be able to offer this item. So some of those are like the chicken bao, right? So the bao bun is like it's not whole grain rich, and that's the 20% remaining that we offer about 2 to 3 menu items a week for lunch, and then 1 times for supper. Or like, you know, for supper we have to at least offer 1 whole grain per day. Next slide. Next one. So here's the sample recipe that I have. So this is like a standard template of how we create recipes. You'll have like the serving size in here, the yields for this recipe, and we'll have the total time, the recipe ingredients. We also list the allergens, and then basically we incorporate the cooking directions with also the picture directions as well, instead of having 2 different recipe pages for this. So this is all incorporated, and then the meal crediting is also down below to make sure that, you know, like for middle school we serve 4 impossible nuggets, and then but for high school we would serve 5 impossible nuggets. Next slide. And then this is also the recipe for the Szechuan dumpling. So as you can see, we have the Szechuan marinade that is made in-house, and this is the same, this is the sauce that you know, we use to cook the dumplings with, so it won't really dry out. Next slide.
And Nicole, we are
Yes.
getting a question of if we could share those recipes.
Yes,
Is that
definitely.
okay?
Mhm,
Okay.
yes, yeah.
So we'll be sure to share with everybody after the call. Okay. And I think that's
And then that's it.
Just-
Yeah. And so just like as a closing remark, you know, really happy to be part of this team and was able to like have this microgrant awarded to start the process. I mean, this was one goal that I wanted to reach pre-pandemic, but then due to pandemic, everything stopped. But also I just want to thank Friends of the Earth, Humane Society, Kate from Humane Society, and even the vendors who have helped us reach this goal.
Great. I'm gonna try to multitask here. I'm gonna stop sharing so we can all see each other's faces. Does anyone have any questions for Nicole? I have some questions. Nicole,
Sure.
what are your next steps?
Our next steps is to continue this. You know, for next school year, around April and May, we will be testing while school is still in session for the for the fall recipe for next school year.
And
We're still looking for more cleaner products that fit our wellness policy.
How was how did the students like it, or what was the feedback that you got?
For the current rules, actually, surprisingly, middle school likes it more than high schools, right? Middle school thinks it's a chicken nugget, but then high school say, oh, I know it's not a chicken nugget. So we have more popularity in the middle school level for the new and the nuggets, and also because, as I said, 35% of our population Asian. So this is like a little bit more, and also like let's say the vegetarian items, right? So like let's say they're dairy free, or I mean, you know, a lot of the meat alternate is very, you know, dairy based as well. So it doesn't really have a dairy free. This option is able to provide more variety to the vegetarian students that we have, plus like dairy free items too.
Great. And
And
what product did you use for the nugget?
the Impossible Nuggets.
The Impossible Nugget.
Yeah,
Okay.
we've tried several ones. We've tried like Rebel, Morningstar, and all that. But you know, I was hoping the recent like CSNA conference last year, you know, there's another nugget in the market, and I was hoping to find something else that didn't have to compete with another one that worked so well, right? Because it's like, how will you be able to persuade me to jump ship to a different company when it's already a product that works well for a student? So I would want to really see something else, like a different form or shape, right? Not go with the same nugget bandwidth, but maybe like a patty or a meatball style or something, or a ground crumble to make it more versatile and flexible for menu applications.
Yeah, makes sense to me. All right. And then Lucy just dropped in the chat. Lucy, do you want to come off mute and just share what you just wrote?
Sure. Nicole, thank you so much. I'm getting hungry and I just ate lunch looking at those delicious things. We will be talking a little bit later about the product directory, which we've reviewed in the past on our peer-to-peers, but I just wanted to say that if anybody's interested in samples of any plant-based nuggets and any other products, please let me know, because a lot of our vendors that we're working with are more than happy to send samples for anything you would like to test.
Sounds good.
And just another goal to add, we started last Monday our launch of allergy meals in-house. Previously, we would do allergy meals with our third-party vended meals, right? Aside, if as a district, not just a refresh. So if you're a refresh program, you would, since you already cook in-house, you will be providing the allergy meals in-house. But if you're a elementary school site that has allergy meals, you would have to get it from our third-party vendor. And now we had launched last Monday, our first day of allergy meals. that we provide to about 70 students in across like 40 schools that we serve allergy meals. So a lot of them, like let's say the gluten-free, like eliminating the 9 top allergens, which is now sesame is a top 9. And then also incorporating these allergy meals that doesn't really have any allergens in the recipes would really help boost some more variety and help our allergy students with more aside from just Amy's meals or anything like that. A freshly prepared allergy meal.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Nicole. Just echoing what Sally said in the chat. It's a huge accomplishment, even just adding and trying something new. And it's nice to see it was a success, especially with those middle schoolers, because I feel like middle schoolers can be really picky. So I'm glad to see that worked. And hopefully you can find something that works for your high schoolers. Well, great. Yeah. Is there any other questions for Nicole? Okay, I'm gonna move on to Oxnard. Anna, is Anna here?
Hi, yes, I am here.
Hi,
everyone.
I was wondering if that was you.
Yeah, oh, I'm sorry. I am joining you from a school site that's kind of out with bad reception. So I'm gonna keep my camera off just to hopefully not overlap. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you great.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, everyone. My name is Anna Litz. I am the Farm to School Program Coordinator for Oxnard Union High School District. We serve 8 high schools in the Oxnard and Camarillo area, and we work with high schools exclusively. So we received a Friends of the Earth Microgrant last spring, and I'll kind of get into what we focused on. Next slide, please. So we had 4 main project objectives. Our nutrition service director, Lisa Rabaya, has done a great job of actually having plant-based items on the menu already for students. But an issue we run into is we have a short amount of time to feed the students, and we have large quantities. We have about like almost 3,000 students at some of our school sites and 35 minutes for them to get through the lunch line. So typically they're going for what is most familiar to them or a food option that they're comfortable with, which might be the chicken sandwich versus the fresh veggie wrap that was just prepared for them that day with homemade hummus. So a big thing we wanted to focus on was the promotion of those plant-based items. And we did that through an art contest, which I'll talk about in just a little bit. And we did that also through taste testing events. So we would work with our wellness centers, our classrooms, different students who are passionate to get students to actually try these items that are on the menu, and then items that we wanted to add to the menu and wanted student feedback on. Measurability was our 3rd project objective. So measuring the participation of number of students who participated in it, seeing how many actually take the plant-based offerings afterwards. And finally, add to the menu. So with some of the different things we tried with the students, we wanted to add 4 new plant-based options on there so students could have those available to them on the daily. Next slide, please. So our art contest, here are some of the winning art forms. Eat your greens, eat the rainbow, eat healthy. We worked with 5 different classes across 3 different school sites. All the students submitted their artwork, and our team reviewed artwork and selected our favorites. They're hanging across the school sites and in just different areas on campus. Actually, a lot of our wellness centers wanted these too, which was awesome. It went to the cafeteria. It's for the cafeterias, but also it's great when students see all around campus, like encouragement to eat fruits and vegetables. So this is some of our artwork that the students created and we had printed on canvas and distributed across all of our school sites. Next slide, please. Adding the 4 plant-based menu items. So one I wanted to highlight was our sunshine salad. So because we are a farm to school program, we do offer harvest of the month. We do this on Tuesday and Thursday. Elisa and our cafeteria managers have been incredible about making these options available to the kids and having really cool recipes there for them. So harvest of the month, I'm sure many of you are familiar, but for those who are not, We just feature a different local produce item every month to try to get the students to try something new. And we offer it as a side salad option. That was actually turned into like a full-on menu item. So the tangerine sunshine salad became super popular. The kids really liked it. The Greek pasta salad was a new one on there. The black bean tacos we adjusted and changed. And then a vegan teriyaki bowl. And then you'll see like a bunch of other ones that either maybe had been on the item or been on the menu, but now they're just increased on the menu, or we got student feedback from there. Next slide, please. So taste testing events, these are really fun. We had 97 students participate over 5 school sites, and we got 45 responses from them on their interest in the food, their feedback. I'll show you some comments in just a minute. What was great about this is we have a lot of students who are really passionate about plant-based options across our campuses. So this student here, her name is Karma, and she led about 3 of these different tasting events. One of them was in the school garden, the other one outside the cafeteria. Students got to try the pozole, burritos, a bunch of different options. You can kind of see them all lined up, and I apologize for not remembering exactly what ones we had those days, but we would do this with our students and then also in our wellness centers. So across our district, we have sites where students can go to if they're just kind of having an off day or need to talk to someone, and we would host lunchtime activities. And this is one of the activities that we hosted with them. So this gave students who had interest in vegan vegetarian options, and then students who didn't really have any interest in it, an opportunity to try those new flavors. Next slide, please. So measurability, so measure the participation of number of students, offer feedback on plant-based menu items. So like I said, we had 97 students participate in these activities across those school sites, and we gathered the responses. Next slide, please. So these were just some of the ones that stood out, and it was really fun to hear some of the student feedback on it. Black bean burger is perfect. They all really loved that one. Some of them, it was cool, like add cashew cream on the tacos and have lettuce and tomato available for the burger. So even just simple things that, you know, we typically have vegetables on the side for students to add with any like burger that they get on campus. But it's nice to know like, oh, maybe they didn't know that that was available to them. So then we as a team can go out and promote that to them. And then, yeah, the salad, liking the more fruits and vegetables on there. They really didn't like sweet potatoes. We really try to make that work. But it was just a little too funky for our students. So we carried on from that. Next slide, please. Lessons learned. So the canvases were really fun and got posted in a lot of different places. The thing I would do next time, I think, is print the artwork on reusable bags on and hand them out to students on campus. This way, that promotion and just seeing fruits and vegetables and seeing this artwork like reminds them daily and in different interactions on campus that those options are available on campus, and gets them thinking about their fruit and vegetable consumption a little more. We also got a lot of feedback on presentation of how something is like wrapped or served or set up. So presentation, I think, especially for high school kids, is super key to getting them to try something new. And then offer items by featuring what it does have, not what it doesn't have. We kind of found they'd get a little nervous if we said it was a meatless taco versus a black bean taco. So verbiage was really key for us. And then we label all of the items vegan and vegetarian, which is awesome. Elisa's team has done a really great job of making sure those options are available to students at all the campuses, and then making sure they're labeled so they can clearly identify what they can eat. Next slide, please. Plant-based menu options. So awesome. These are just some of the ones we had on there. And then I think the rest of the slides are the recipes, right? Orange edamame, vegan chili. That one's really good. The tacos are super popular. Burrito. And you guys are welcome to use any and all of these recipes. Vegan wrap. But yeah, it was a really fun project. It was really student engagement and getting students to understand what's available for them on campus and then increase those items on the menu. Any questions?
Great, thank you. Yeah, does anyone have any questions? All right, I think we don't have any questions. Anna, we got a lot of positive feedback in the chat. I think Lisa wants these for her cafeteria, which is great to see. And I absolutely love the student artwork, and it's great to see that engagement. I guess, Anna, I did have one question about the presentation. You mentioned that presentation is key in terms of the food. Do you have any specific examples of how you were able to make something look more presentable to students, or like what resonated with students in terms of the overall look?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think especially with like the salad, like it's really hard to like have a ton of food, right? We're serving so many kids and everyone is, to make it look good and have the students be interested in it. Where we found success was in the packaging for like anything that was clear. So like the salads, making them look really aesthetic. So Elisa has her cooks every time they come in, bring in a different menu item, and we see the different ways that they prepare it and the ways they present it. So just putting all the really fresh fruits and vegetables right on top, all those things together are going to like draw the students in. So I think just like having a diversity of color, presenting them in like clear packaging as much as you can, so the students can actually see what they're about to eat, versus wrapped in the like more metallic sheer wraps that we have.
That's really helpful. Thank you.
We have a lot of local purveyors that they purchase food from. So I got my hands dirty and started researching and wanting to see what kind of resources we have in our area that's local, and then create more vegetarian, vegan, plant-based menus. So Mary's Chicken, although not, it's obviously meat, is a free-range organic brand that's in California. And so we've incorporated those on our menus. Green and Gold, which is a citrus farmer on the Central Coast, which is all of these companies are within a 30-mile radius of our school district. And it was wonderful having a chance to work with these farmers, not only because of supply chain issues with the fallout of COVID, but also have an opportunity to pay a little bit more of a heftier price with this grant and get ingredients versus struggling to find resources that are a little farther away. So we had a great time seeing what's out there in our local markets. Next slide, please. This is just some of the produce and products that we acquired over the past couple months of using these funds. We had some strawberries from Cal Poly, San Luis Obispo. They grow their own produce on their campus, and so they sold strawberries to us. Bautista Farms in Arroyo Grande, which is close to us, they had some cherry tomatoes and cucumbers. That's a picture of our salad bar. And then we have a main kitchen, so we make all the food here, or package it and then ship it out to our school sites. Many of our kitchens don't have kitchens that can do any from scratch cooking other than just using their oven. And they have tiny sinks to wash things in, so that's been a challenge. So we were able to kind of test little things, and then we took it to a larger scale at a parent night. And next slide. So this was an Asian salad that we made for a parent night. It's plant-based. It was using a USDA recipe that we omitted the chicken with. So it's fairly flexible with omnivores or vegans and vegetarians. We did use sesame seed oil. So when we do it for our main school meals, we're going to omit that because of the sesame seed allergies are so prevalent in our school district. The kids enjoyed it. They had great feedback. A lot of kids were very hesitant because it's unfamiliar. Unfortunately, when you say it's like something Panda has, they'll eat it. Our clientele are our demographics in this area is primarily Hispanic. And so Asian cuisine is something that some kids are very familiar with, but others not so much. So even like the sesame seed oil was a little strong for their taste buds, but overall it was great exposure and fairly positive feedback. Due to staff shortages, like many of you are facing, it's a little cumbersome to make. So we're kind of working out some kinks and don't necessarily have this running at our school sites, but we're planning with more staff to do that. Next slide, please. And we also made a broccoli salad for one of our parent nights, and this was another a great way of why we even chose to do a parent night was to incorporate parent buy-in too, to have their kids choose menu items or pick a particular day that they wanted to eat. And so this broccoli salad, we got a USDA recipe and kind of doctored it up a little bit and put some of our flair, but it was well received by our students. We used sunflower seeds instead of almonds because some restaurants have this similar salad with other nuts on it. So we wanted to stick to our allergen friendly students and went with sunflower seeds, which is just a delicious crunch. And parents were actually asking for this recipe, which was really remarkable, and wanting to know what was in it because their kids were eating the broccoli, which was really great. And we've tested this at some of our school sites, and again, like just even putting together a salad, it's a little cumbersome for some of my staffing, but it was well received with our high schoolers as well. Next slide, please. These are just the recipes. They're easily found on the USDA recipe for school site. It does all the math for you for 50 or 100 servings, and you just scale it up from there. And so that was really helpful to kind of use that as a guide and don't reinvent the wheel, basically. Next slide. And same thing with the broccoli salad. And we actually ended up taking out or less red onions from this recipe because they were like super pungent or like our TKers. So, well, thank you for letting me present. And does anybody have any questions? Good.
Thanks, Jessie. We appreciate it. I really I swear I ate lunch, but I am getting hungry just looking at all the wonderful pictures. I know we always say that, but I'm actually like, that looks really good. So that's wonderful. And we appreciate you sharing. And everybody, we will be sending out all of these recipes following the call. So yeah. And I love Lisa mentioned this as well, just the idea of incorporating parents into this as well. Great. I'm going to jump right into turning it over to Lisa, or sorry, Lacey. Hey, Lacey. It's great to have you on the call.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you're a little bit quiet.
A little bit quiet. Is that better?
Yeah, it is better.
Okay. Well, hi, everybody. My name is Lacey Piper. I'm Director of Child Nutrition for the Rio School District in Oxnard. And we have 9 schools. All of which are scratch cooking with the exception of one where occasionally we have to transport meals. I am very fortunate where I have a very supportive board and administration that are pushing to renovate some of our older kitchens to become scratch cooking kitchens. So very, very lucky. But next slide. So we were the recipient of the Microgrant to add tofu to our menu. And how this really came about is we were taking a look at our menus and just looking at our vegetarian options and noticed that the majority of our vegetarian options had cheese as the main source of protein, like many school districts. And it happened to be around March when we were taking a look at our menus, which and our harvest of the month item at the time was broccoli. And so we were kind of looking at beef and broccoli or a stir fry using broccoli. How do we incorporate broccoli into the main entree instead of just sitting on the salad bar in a cold salad? How do we make it hot? And so that's kind of how the discussion came about. And so we used a lot of the funding to actually develop the recipe. So, you know, we kind of went into it with wanting to expose our kids to a different source of protein. We have a large Hispanic population, the Maseco population, and so it was definitely like a new protein for a lot of our kids. But as I mentioned, a lot of the money went to developing the recipe. So we needed a recipe that we could adapt to our different kitchens. We have some kitchens with tilt skillets, some with combi ovens, some with convection ovens. So we probably tested this recipe. I mean, maybe at least 8 times. You know, it's coming out slimy or too wet, or there was a whole lot going on with this recipe. So it took us a while. And then, like I mentioned before, we've been trying to bring in a lot of local fruits and vegetables. And so what we liked about this recipe was that it could adapt with the seasons. And so, I mentioned we participate in the Harvest of the Month, but we really try to bring in as much as we can within the season locally. And so this allowed us to do that, this recipe. So, sometimes we'll make it with carrots, sometimes we'll make it with bell peppers. It just kind of depends on what's in season. So there's some flexibility with it, which is what we liked. One of the biggest challenge that we kind of faced was, our staff being unfamiliar cooking the protein. And so we had to have several meetings kind of discussing how to use it, how to press it overnight, making sure there's enough weight on it to get remove the liquid so that the stir fry didn't end up soggy the next day. So we had several trainings on that. And then we also spent a lot of the money on doing, we recently hired a farm to school coordinator. We're fortunate enough to have a couple of food corps service members that did a lot of student taste testing prior to us rolling it out on the menu. And what was kind of interesting is that a lot of our elementary school kids really liked it. A lot of our middle school kids were very hesitant in trying it, yet our middle school kids are the ones asking for more vegetarian options. So that was kind of interesting, but it's definitely helped having those taste tests prior to rolling it out on our menu, and then also tying it in with nutrition education that's happening in the classrooms. So next slide. So I realized I did not put all the serving sizes or portion sizes on there, but I'm happy to send it out. What was nice about this recipe is that the sauce can be made in advance. The tofu can be processed in advance and pressed overnight, and as well as a lot of the local veggies that we mix it with can be broken down ahead of time. So that was some of the benefits of this recipe. So just kind of moving forward, we continue to add this recipe or taste this with our kids. We try to do it prior to it coming up on the menu, especially in fall. We'll push it a lot. But kind of moving forward as far as next steps for adding more vegetarian options, we're looking at a curried lentil with a coconut rice. We're also bringing back one of our old recipes because the kids requested it, which was a 3-bean chili and homemade cornbread. And then we started to do family cook nights once a month. And that's been a way for us to also kind of introduce some of our families to more vegetarian options. We recently did a vegan ceviche, and we did a take on a Jamaican dish using plantains and beans, and that's been kind of fun way to introduce some of our community to some more vegetarian options. That's all I have. Thank you. Any questions?
I had a question about the oyster sauce. Because that one is it vegetarian and vegan or?
Great question. I'm not too sure. I'm sure some of the staff or people here might know better than myself, but Nora, do you know off the top of your head?
No, I have no idea. I know that oyster sauce, there is a vegetarian version, but you'd have to double check that. That might be something to double check, just because if you're labeling it as vegetarian, you may want to double check the oyster sauce as something. And then Lacey, if you don't mind sending us the recipe, that would be, I don't know if we have the exact recipe on hand, but it'd be great to have that. And I love your family cooking nights. That's so awesome. I'm wondering who hosts the family cooking night. Is that you that kind of runs it, or is that somebody on your staff, or how do you all do that?
Great question. So we have food corps service members that actually run it. But what we do is we do monthly signups. So anybody in our district can sign up and they are given the ingredients for free. So we can have as many, we've had as many as 200 people sign up, and all of the ingredients and produce items are provided to families for free, and we use LCAP dollars to do that. And then they can log in virtually. We probably on average have about 40 families that participate during the cook night. And but then the rest are given the recipe. We post it on our website. So if they're not able to log in, there's other opportunities for them to cook together.
Great. Any other questions? And Ben, I'm going to put you on the spot because I know you mentioned something about a lot of money for dish machines. So I wanted to ask you more about that. That sounds nice.
Yeah. So there is $15 million earmarked for K through 12 schools to install or retrofit dish machines. The hope is that they're going to be moving away from plastic waste in the lunchroom. And kind of move over to a more reusable system, which is what I'm all about. But yeah, that the money is available. It's about, I think, $40,000 per school site would probably be the ask. Most door type dish machines are around $5,000, maybe another $5,000 for install, but install is a whole nother thing. So that is available if folks want it. I think the budget will be done in June. One of the parent groups down in Glendale was working on this. They wanted to get a bill passed. Governor Newsom decided not to pass it, but did want to earmark some money for this. So that's just kind of an availability. If you all want to buy reusables, I got a guy, so you don't have to use that type of money for it, who would just buy y'all reusables. While I got the floor, we're doing this cool plate waste study in Fremont where we're looking at farm to school as well as reusables to see if there's food waste reduction along with that. I think I already know the answer, but it would be nice to get the study to back that up. So look for that in the next year to see that, all this fresh farm to school stuff is actually causing the students to eat more rather than throw it away. So that'll be a nice addition and support for the farm to school system as well as reusables. And I'll stop talking now.
I was just talking and then I realized I'm on mute. That sounds great, Ben. I'm really excited about that money. Definitely check it out. Ben, if you don't mind just dropping your email in the chat. If anyone has any questions on reusables or dishwashers or need any support, we are so excited to have a champion with Ben who can really just help you out in any way that you need. He is like the go-to person for that. So with that said, I wanted to thank all of our presenters. Let me go back to Yeah, thank you all so much for presenting. I just wanted to kind of share a little bit about what's happening at each school site around more plant-based offerings. I know this year, especially with staffing and other things going on, you know, there are a lot of challenges, but it's really great to see that there's a lot of really exciting initiatives, whether it's involving students in art contests and taste testing, to family cooking nights and parent engagement, as well as just new recipes on the menu that students are trying and giving feedback on. So that is all so wonderful. I will mention that we will send out all the recipes that were shared on the call today. And we just have a plethora of plant-based recipes. We just put some of these up here. So feel welcome to reach out to us if you want any recipes. V's been organizing them and filing them away, and we definitely have a lot in our files. So if you are looking for anything or anything new, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. So I wanted to one of the things that we are, Sheila, I know I just dropped, Sheila, I can go back if you want to take a picture of that. I saw you taking a picture. In terms of reflection, I would love to do a breakout group with everyone, just to talk about, I know a lot of districts are kind of starting to think about menu planning for next school year. So just in the breakout groups, I mean, first of all, you can talk about whatever you want, just say hi, chat. I know it's a busy time of year, so feel welcome to get to know one another. But I do have these questions. What have you done this year around plant-based menu offerings? What are your goals for menu planning for 2023, 2024? What recipes are you wanting to do? So again, it's like, what recipes have you done? What recipes do you want to do? And are there any challenges or barriers that you're running into? So with that said, I'm going to quickly type those into the chat. And V will probably want to do about maybe 3 breakout groups. I'm going to make you a co-host so you can help facilitate that. Next year challenges you are running into. So I just dropped that into the chat for the questions for everyone to reference. And then we'll probably meet for about 10-15 minutes and then come back here to reconvene. And then we'll just have a couple more announcements and then we'll let you all go. So V, I think if you could put us all into breakout groups, that would be great. All right, I'll see you all back here soon. Okay, well, I guess real quick, we just did want to share, I'm gonna open back up. Before we wrap up, Lucy, if it's okay, I'm just gonna quickly go through this, just for the sake of time. Is that okay? Yeah. So I just wanted to share real quick that we do have, we've been kind of working to expand plant-based vendors that we're familiar with and that we can, connect with all of you. So we have been working with a lot of plant-based vendors. Here at Friends of the Earth, we do look for vendors that are non-GMO and have non-GMO ingredients. So we've listed some up here. And as you can see, we have quite a lot of different options in terms of alternative proteins. We also have cheese and egg alternatives, as well as some breads and pastas and other products. So I'm going through that all really, really quickly. But what I will say is I will send out kind of a product list in a follow-up email. Or Lucy, I don't know if you can drop that into the chat real quick. I can actually drop it into the chat. I think I can multitask. And so we do have that as a resource, and please feel welcome if you are looking for any products. I know right now a lot of us are kind of thinking about menu development for the upcoming year. So I just dropped that into the chat, but if you are looking for any samples of anything, please feel welcome to reach out. If you're looking for recipes, please feel welcome to reach out. And then in terms of our next session, it is to be determined. All of you have spring break next month, and it's been kind of impossible to figure out like what week we should do our next session, because I feel like everybody is out on spring break in April. So I'm kind of looking at everybody's calendars and trying to figure out like when is the right time. It might be like mid to late April, but I don't know. Maybe we'll do it at the beginning of April and just have a smaller group. I'm not really sure yet. So that has to be determined. Yeah.
So am I leaving April 5 on the calendar or taking it off?
I would take it off.
Okay.
If I'm honest, we're looking at April 12th. If not, maybe the Wednesday after that. Just because I know like the beginning of the April, like almost everybody is out on spring break. So yeah, I don't know. If you have suggestions for me, please send me an email. Let me know, because I don't know when to schedule things. And if there's something that you want to hear about, again, send me an email and let me know if you have any suggestions. And then lastly, if you were not funded by any of this plant-based microgrant funds and you are looking for funds, please, again, everybody should look out for the school food best practices funds, because that's a base of $50,000, which is far more than what we can offer. But we do have some small amounts of funding that is available. So please reach out to me if you are interested in getting a plant-based microgrant fund. We do have some small amount of money available. And then we would love, again, I'm going to stop sharing. Thank you all so much for coming. Lucy, can you just drop into the chat one more time the reminder for the webinar for the school food best practices?
Sure, it's
Okay.
in there, but I'll put it in again.
Okay, great. And I think that's it. I hope everybody who is up north is surviving the weather, and y'all have a good rest of the time. Thanks for staying on the call. I appreciate it. All right, have a good rest of